Yo, what's going on guys, and welcome back to another FPL video on the channel. And in today's one, we're going to be looking at the top 5 FPL midfielders and forwards that will cost you 6 million or below. And in at number 5, we've got Wissa, and last season he managed to bag 12 goals and get 4 assists in 29 starts. I think for the price of 6 million, that is a pretty decent return. He definitely is someone that can get you goals. Last season he did have an XG of 0.38 per 90 and an expected assist of 0.07 per 90. So I think that is some pretty decent underlying data for a 6 million forward, and overall he is definitely a good option for 6 million. But the biggest problem with this player is right now the fixtures. All right, the fixtures in game weeks 1 and in game weeks 3 are actually pretty good. They've got Crystal Palace at home in game week 1, Southampton at home in game week 3, but the fixtures around that are pretty poor, and that's the biggest reason, and that's the main reason why he is ranked last on this list. So at number 5, he definitely would be higher if the fixtures were better. I mean, in game weeks 2, they've got Liverpool away. We know that's going to be a tough fixture. In game weeks 4, he's got Manchester City away, and then game weeks 5, you've got Spurs away. So these are the fixtures where you wouldn't really expect any goal contributions from someone like Wissa. But there also is an option to start with Wissa and then transfer him out after game week 3. So you do get him for the Southampton at home and Crystal Palace at home game. But yeah, that's probably the main thing, the main reason why Wissa is ranked number 5 on this list. I don't doubt that he's a player that can get you goals, but the problem is the fixtures for the first 5 to 6 games aren't really that good. And in my opinion, there are definitely better forwards and midfielders at 6 million or below that are currently better than Wissa because of the fixtures they have. So yeah, that's what I'd say on Wissa. And obviously, yes, Tony is going to be leaving as well, so we know that Wissa's guaranteed 90 minutes, and he's got a good partnership, a good link up with Brian and Bremer. When they play together, they really do perform well. So yeah, that's the biggest downside when it comes to Wissa, is just simply those fixtures. But I will say this though, keep in mind that there is a fixture swing for Brentford in game week 6. The fixtures do get a lot better after that Spurs game, so he's definitely someone to keep an eye on. And obviously, if you don't want to go with him, that's totally understandable. Obviously, you do have the option with starting with Wissa and then getting rid of him after the Southampton at home fixture. But yeah, I would definitely say just keep in mind game week 6 to about game week 13, a massive fixture swing for Brentford. So that's definitely a time where you could also consider putting someone like Wissa in your team. So in at number 4, we've got Hudson-Odoi, and he's coming in at the price of 5.5 million. Last season he managed to get 8 goals and 2 assists. I think his form really did pick up towards the end of last season, and at the price of 5.5 million, I think he's a very good player with to start the season, man. The fixtures for Nottingham Forest are absolutely incredible. They've got Bournemouth at home in game week 1, Southampton away in game week 2, Wolves at home in game week 3. In game weeks 5 and 6, they've got Brighton and Fulham. Some really good fixtures there. So if you're looking to go with someone like Erling Haaland, who's 15 million this year, then you're going to need some of these cheaper value players, and I think Hudson-Odoi is definitely one to consider. Now, obviously, there is also Anthony Elanga, who is also 5.5 million, playing for the same team as Hudson-Odoi. So there is a decision there to be made. Who is better to go with, Elanga or Hudson-Odoi? And that's why I kind of want to compare the two and compare their stats from last season. So as you guys can see, Elanga scored 5 goals and got 9 assists last season, which is more goal contributions than Hudson-Odoi, who got 8 goals and 2 assists. But one thing I want you guys to consider is total minutes played. And last season, Elanga played around 2,400 minutes, whilst Hudson-Odoi played around 1,800 minutes. So yes, Elanga did get more goal contributions than Hudson-Odoi. However, Hudson-Odoi did play less minutes than Anthony Elanga. Now, the underlying data in terms of XG per 90 and expected assist per 90 are actually slightly favouring Anthony Elanga as well. As you guys can see, his XG per 90 and expected assist per 90 is definitely higher than Callum Hudson-Odoi's. However, what I've noticed and what I found is that Hudson-Odoi is definitely more clinical than Anthony Elanga, which could make him a better option. I mean, if you look at FPL points per start, you can see that Hudson-Odoi's had 4.9 FPL points per start compared to Elanga's 4 FPL points per start. So what that's showing you is that Hudson-Odoi is actually getting more returns, even though his underlying data is slightly worse than Elanga's. I mean, it's no surprise, as last season Hudson-Odoi had an XG of around 2.65, but yet he scored 8 goals. So we can see it's a massive overperformance from his XG stats, which leads me to believe, can he maintain it? I guess we don't really know. Hudson-Odoi has never really been someone that's started consistently in the Premier League, so I don't feel like we actually know if he just genuinely is a clinical finisher, or was it just a fluke. But What I will say is that I think Hudson-Odoi will get more minutes this season. 100%, he definitely will get more minutes at the start of the season. So with that, I actually do think I slightly prefer Hudson-Odoi, even though Elanga's underlying numbers per 90 are slightly better in terms of XG per 90 and XA per 90. So yeah, I'm slightly leaning towards Hudson-Odoi, which is why I put him in number 4. But I kind of just wanted to compare him to Elanga, just to give you guys a little bit of an insight, because it is pretty tough. It is pretty tough in terms of knowing who to pick between the two. At first I was thinking Elanga, but after digging a little bit deeper, I'm starting to think that Hudson-Odoi might be the better option. But nonetheless, I do think at the price of 5.5 million, both are pretty decent options. Let me know though, who do you prefer for your FPL teams if you were to pick one? Hudson-Odoi or Anthony Elanga? Let me know down below in the comments, and let's move on to the next one. So in at number 3, we do have Morgan Rogers from Aston Villa, and we didn't really see much of him last season. I mean, he only started 8 Premier League games, but in that time he managed to bag 3 goals and get 1 assist, and so far in pre-season he's actually managed to keep up a pretty decent goal scoring form. At the time of recording, he's actually scored 3 goals in pre-season, so he is doing pretty well in pre-season, and it is looking like he is going to be starting and getting a lot more minutes in the Aston Villa team. I think at the price of 5 million, Morgan Rogers could really prove to be a great value pick, and probably one of the best value picks in the game. I mean, 5 million is ridiculously cheap, and the fixtures for Aston Villa are also really good to start the season. I mean, from game weeks 1 all the way to about game week 10, their fixtures are really nice. Yes, I know they got the Arsenal fixture in game week 2, but because Rodgers is so cheap, you'd probably be in a situation where you can actually rotate him in and out where needed. But I think for me the biggest thing is, can he just start games consistently? Because like I said, the fixtures are good from an attacking point of view. I think, you know, there's a lot of games where he can score goals in, you know, West Ham in game week 1, Leicester away in game week 3, Everton at home, Wolves at home in game weeks 4 and 5, Ipswich away in game week 6. These are some really good fixtures, and I think Rodgers could be a pick that a lot of people go for if they're going to go for, you know, a Haaland in their draft. If you're building, you know, a Haaland Salah draft or a Haaland Palmer Salah draft, you know, if you're building it, like, I think Rodgers is a good pick because he allows you to pick those premium options. And I think right now, maybe not a lot of people will have Rodgers in their team because they don't know if he's going to start. But I think if Rodgers is showing that he's starting and he's playing in that sort of attacking position that he plays in, then I think a lot of people will definitely go onto Rodgers, and I think Rodgers will help a lot of players that are a lot of FPL managers that are going to go for Haaland in their draft, because we know Haaland is ridiculously expensive this year, 15 million. So you need to find those cheap players that can get you those points, and I think Rodgers could definitely be one of those players. And then in at number 2, coming in at the price of 6 million, we do have Rodrigo Muniz. And last season he managed to bag 9 goals and get 2 assists in 18 Premier League starts. I mean, his form really picked up towards the end of last season. He just came out of nowhere, man. He really did just come out of nowhere. But yeah, he really showed what he can do last season. So I think he'll be a great option with. I think he'll be a great option to start the season with. The fixtures are really good for Fulham as well, man. I think he definitely can get you goals at the start of the season. Yes, I know he's got Manchester United away from home in game week 1. Some people might say that's not as hard as you think, because last season Man United were shocking defensively. I know that Man United had injuries, and you know, we've got certain players back like Lisandro Martinez, but nonetheless, if Ten Hag still plays that shocking system he did last season, then Man United are not going to be looking good from a defensive point of view, and I think Muniz is someone that definitely can exploit that. But after that, the fixtures for Fulham are really good. In game weeks 2, they've got Leicester at home. In game weeks 3, they've got Ipswich away. In game weeks 4 and 5, they've got West Ham at home and Newcastle at home. So some really good fixtures there for Fulham, and I think Rodrigo Muniz is definitely someone to keep an eye on, and definitely someone that you should consider for your game week 1 teams. The underlying data as well last season was pretty good for Muniz, man. I mean, this is a forward that is going to cost you 6 million, guys. So he had an XG of 0.48 per 90, which is really good, I feel like, for an FPL forward at 6 million. I think, you know, with consistent minutes like he showed, he is definitely someone that can get you goals. And for those first like six games, man, Muniz could really be a good option. So in my opinion, you should definitely consider him. He even had 5 FPL points per start last season, which is a really good return for, again, someone that's going to cost you only 6 million. I think it's very important this year to find out who to find out who's going to be those good cheap players, because if you want to fit players like Haaland and Salah in the same team, you're going to need these kind of players like Muniz. So I think he's definitely someone you should consider. So in at number 1, in first place, we do have Chris Wood, and he's coming in at the price of 6 million. And last season, he managed to bag 14 goals and get 1 assist, which is a very, very, very good return for someone at the price of 6 million. I really do like Chris Wood as an option. The underlying data is good. As you can see, the XG per 90 is pretty high, man. I mean, 0.57 XG per 90 is really good for a player that's going to cost you 6 million. And like when I was talking about Hudson-Odoi and Elanga and Nottingham Forest, their fixtures are really good to start the season, man. Some really good fixtures there. And I think Morgan Gibbs-White, man, is probably, well, I do think he's the best, hence why I've ranked him number 1. He is the best in my opinion. 6 million forward and or midfielder. Between midfielders and forwards, I think, yeah, Chris Wood is the best, regardless of position. At the price of 6 million, I think Chris Wood is number 1. Yeah, man, the fixtures are good. The underlying data is good. He's shown that he can score goals in the Premier League previously, not only for Nottingham Forest, but also for Burnley as well. So, yeah, man, I think to start the season, Chris Wood could potentially be one of the best value players in my opinion. Last season, he also did have an average of 5.7 FPL points per start, which again is a really good return for someone that's going to cost you only 6 million. I mean, he would definitely be an even better pick if he was on penalties, but unfortunately I don't think that's the case. I think Morgan Gibbs-White is the designated penalty taker for Nottingham Forest. But yeah, I do think Chris Wood is a fantastic option. He's already scored in pre-season as well, and I don't think we really have to worry about rotation or, you know, him getting benched. I think he will be getting consistent starts and consistent minutes for Nottingham Forest. So yeah, man, I think Chris Wood is definitely someone you should be considering for your FPL teams. I think he provides such good value to start the season, and like I said, man, the fixtures are really good as well. So yeah, I think Chris Wood I do think Chris Wood is a good option. But let me know your thoughts on Chris Wood down below. Is he going to be making your FPL game week 1 teams? But that is going to be it for today's video. Hope you guys did enjoy. Make sure you smash that like button if you didn't, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Let me know your thoughts down below on each player. I think if you're going to go for Haaland, then this video was probably a bit useful for you. So yeah, if you're going for Haaland, let me know which player you're most likely going to go with this team. And even if you're not going for Haaland, let me know who you would rank number 1 at the price of 6 million or below. But yeah, hope you guys did enjoy the video. Smash a like, smash the subscribe button, and I'll catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace.